Well, the latest stage of the farcical journey towards absolute annihilation of this country by crazy Ed Miliband, the net zero secretary, is that his 2030 net zero plan, according to a think tank, relies on inflated statistics. In other words, it's not cogent, it doesn't add up. Nothing about this guy adds up. But what does emerge from this murky picture is a clear portrait of a hypocrite. He's a hypocrite because he says, well, you know, we've all got to amend the way we behave. We've got to think about whether or not we climb on jets to go on holiday to Spain, have a staycation, look after the environment, don't get on a jet, you know, don't drive you know, petrol cars, diesel cars, change your lifestyle, save the planet. Meanwhile, while he preaches to us, he has flown 23,000 miles this year alone, 23,000 eco-busting miles, and the officials from the Department of Energy, you know, his department, the environmental department, have flown more than, this is since January to September, so in fairness, from January to July, that would have been on behalf of the Tories, but since July on behalf of Labour, they have flown, drum roll, more than 3 million air miles on 1,130 flights. This is hypocrisy on an industrial scale. Keir Starmer and Ed Miliband took with them to Baku, to that nonsense COP29 Azerbaijan fiasco. 470 British delegates. You know, these people are destroying the planet. Haven't they heard of Zoom? What they're saying to us, James, your thoughts, please. But what this lot are effectively saying to us with their air jetting everywhere is do as we say, not as we do. And for that, I know what they can do. They can go and screw themselves. This hypocrisy will ruin their mission. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, it's hypocrisy in so many different things. It's just this government in a nutshell. It's just horrendous. I mean, you know, they're punishing people. You know, that sanctimonious style of theirs. You know, treating us plebs like some sort of serfs to their fiefdoms of their own sort of fake, bogus virtue signalling. And net zero is an encapsulation of that, whereby, you know, they're strutting off around the world, staying in lavish hotels, motorcades, private jets. And it's not just this government. The last government were doing it as well. You know, they've also got people like Prince Harry are, you know, constantly going on about the same thing and using private jets. And meanwhile, they're punishing us with, you know, green taxes. You know, a lot of the farming debate is connected to sort of measures that are to do with net zero. For instance, the solar panels on prime agricultural land. You've also got aspects of, you know, the LES and ULEZ program. So there's loads of these measures they're putting in place. And then there's also the thing that Starmer said at COP. So there'll be a 20% reduction in dairy and meat to save the planet. And yet, there's also the framing of debate about things like methane and cow farts are somehow the problem. That if you want to have a debate about emissions, then let's have a debate about the real problem with emissions, and that's China. You know, in terms of total emissions, it's more than the developed world put together. But we've got politicians, in particular this government, who are doing mass zealotry on the altar of net zero, and it has consequences. It has consequences in terms of disruption, the economy, our tax spend, but ultimately also our energy security. It's not joined up. The overall cost to get to net zero is our gargantuan sum, which is billions and billions and billions of taxpayers' money. And for what exactly?
Yeah. It's going to destroy our economy. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make financial sense. It doesn't make environmental sense either. Nobody's actually that clear what net zero actually is anyway. But whatever the hell it is, we're not going to make it by 2030. And whenever we do make it, by the time we do get there, we'll have spent absolute untold fortunes completely destroying this country, turning it into a solar panel farm peppered by thousands of windmills. It's insanity. It's insanity. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that Ed Miliband is the most dangerous man in Britain right now. He's going to destroy this country. He's going to destroy our economy on, the altar of his own virtue signalling, bearing in mind this country only produces less than 1% of the world's pollution anyway. Nothing we can do can change anything. It's a joke.
Yeah, exactly. And it's we're charmed as an island in many ways. We've got the right temperature. You've got loads of natural assets, bountiful supply of energy, but our governments aren't working this out. And part of the reason that there's all kinds of things going on with energy supply. There's not enough storage facilities for oil and gas. They're moving away from oil and gas, moving on to net zero. And a lot of sort of labour funding streams are connected to net zero corporations and individuals as well. That needs to be looked at. But we've also, one of the great things about this country, as well as what we should have energy supply, is about our green and pleasant land. And that green and pleasant land is cultivated by our farmers. And if you take there's also the food supply debate, where you reduce our food security, combined with destroying the beautiful aspects of our countryside by plastering it with solar panels. And some of these schemes are thousands of acres. They will completely destroy rural communities in terms of tourism as well.
Yeah.
So there's all these connected forces under the auspices of something that ultimately is a pipe dream, but it feels like COVID. It's basically problem, solution, and loads of other problems.
Absolutely, James. With you all the way. I've got to go now. We've got to finish now. That's James Melville, social and political commentator. We'll be back in a minute.